Oh, hi, everyone, and welcome to TTRPG for a very special episode of Lost in Miami. It is our finale. Yeah, air horns play, air horns play. I would press my soundboard button, but I don't know how loud it is, so I'm just not going to. Um,
Risk it, risk it.
Thank you all for joining us. There you go.
Woo!
Thank you all for joining us across these last three episodes, and we appreciate all the supports. There is no cold opening because we're going in hot, jumping off of a cliffhanger. So we're going to start with introductions, and we're going to start with Pearl. Tell us all about who you are actually.
Hi. My name is Amanda. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me at Pandacabra on Twitter, where I play TTRPGs. I stream over here on Twitch at Pandacabra as well. Tonight, I am playing Gangrel Pearl, who is a 1980s New York club kid. Uses they, them pronouns.
Fantastic. And then we're going to shuffle on up to Maeve. Who are you?
Hi, uh, I'm Nikki, and I use she, her pronouns, and so does Maeve. And Maeve is a business bitch, and she likes smoking cigarettes and punching Nazis.
There you go. That's those, and take that as a lesson, everyone out there at home. That's all you need to have a show ready character. Be prepared to punch Nazis. That's it. Next up, we have the lovely Sawyer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina. I use any pronouns, and tonight I will be playing Sawyer, who uses she, her pronouns. And thanks, you're all beautiful people. Hi, I'll be the Toreador this evening, and I'll be playing with the Uncaged Tarot cards because Sawyer loves peace and love.
Interesting. And then next up, we have the most wholesome cult leader any of you have ever met. It's Dawn.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christiana or Chris. I use she, her pronouns, and so does Don Dervish, our 70s Malkavian cult leader. You can find me at Carpe Christi on Twitter.
Hell yeah. And my name's Dee. I'm everyone else. So, last that we left off, there was a bit of an encounter that happened at the not so safe house where a couple of members of the Second Inquisition, a group of humans dedicated to protecting normal sun-walking mortals from the fearsome creatures of the night that they don't seem to understand as well as they may think they do, quickly being dispatched by some thinking and ingenuity by our coterie. The coterie then reconvened inside of the safe house, only to be met by a very apprehensive Juniper who exclaimed that she was close. And seeing exactly whom she was, the party watched as a woman stepped out of the shadows. And that's where we're going to pick up. So to give you a better description of this figure that steps out of the shadows, she is fairly tall, probably like 5'11 ish, somewhere around there. Shorn head on one side, with very long black hair that reaches down to like the collarbone or so. Very torn up, sort of acid wash jeans. This rough, sort of like biker's spiked metal coat. And probably most notably, she carries this long black velvet case sort of just slung over her shoulder. And she says, "Nice digs."
She says that to Juniper.
Just says that, just in the room, sort of looking around the house.
Oh.
How did you get in here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I don't really need doors to do my thing. I kind of, come and go where I please for the most part. Um, but it's good to see you, Juniper. And she sort of like crouches and looks at her and goes, taking it better than I would have thought. And
I take a
so-
moment to sort of like step closer to Juniper, almost like I'm ready to kind of throw myself in front of her if I need to.
I'm gonna follow Pearl and just put my hand on Juniper's shoulder just a little bit, just behind her.
Right. So you all must be the babysitters, huh? Listen, I appreciate the whole, I don't know, whatever it is y'all have been doing here. But you helped me find Juniper after that asshole swiped her out from under me. So thanks, I guess.
Can I tell if this person is why am I forgetting the word that we use for humans?
Parent?
Oh, kind.
Kind.
Uh,
For vampires, yeah.
She's kindred.
Oh.
She's a vampire as well.
Like how my go-to is parent, because I'm like totally out of it. I'm so here. So are we to assume that you are responsible for our Juniper here?
Oh yes, the one and only. It was I.
Why?
Saved her life.
I'm so sorry. I've never heard of you before. I don't recognize you.
It's because I normally don't come this far east. I tend to be more of a West Coaster, although America's pretty shit wherever you go nowadays.
Well, I've been there before too, and I still haven't heard of you.
And you say
Must be doing my
nowadays
job
as
right.
if things weren't shitty forever.
Oh, I meant way before. I meant before this place was America. I just meant like the general sort of nowadays.
How old are you?
I don't know. You kind of stop counting after 1,000, I guess. 1,500, maybe somewhere around there.
That
You make
requires
Juniper?
such patience.
And trust me, I did not have a lot of it for a very long time. But and she just walks over and sort of plops down on the couch, kicking her feet up. I've actually grown quite patient in my old age. That's why I let you run around and do your little tests and fun books and stuff.
I'm not interested in tests. I'm here to protect Juniper. What are your intentions with her?
What are my intentions? That makes me sound like a supervillain or something. Well, I just, kid's got a lot of things to learn before she holds the crown. So figured I should probably start teaching her now that I found her. You must have done something pretty powerful, kiddo. You finally slipped out from under that protection glyph you've been on. And you see that she sort of like laces a finger underneath the necklace. Says, this is a tricky bit of magic here. Powerful. Hold on to it. So, you ready to go? And Juniper is just kind of like a little shell-shocked and just looks to you all.
You don't have to go anywhere or with anyone that you don't want to, Junie.
And you see the woman, her sire, just sort of says, well, I wish that were true and that you could sit around here in Florida until, the swamps take over and get rid of all the kind. But I need all of y'all to understand that she's got a lot of responsibilities she's got to handle. So
She's a child.
She is.
She's a child with a lot of power. What if she says no to you?
Ooh, that would be tiring, probably. Lasombran versus Lasombran, it kind of just like, you know?
You know what I think? I think it would be tiring, but I think it would not be tiring for you. I think you're afraid.
Well, luckily Lyman's not paying you to think. And she just like leans back and clicks open her the velvet case that she carries with her and says, listen, I appreciate that you all have gotten attached. She's cool. That's why, I decided to choose her as my successor rather than just letting her die to those fucking Second Inquisition chuckleheads. And she goes over to Juniper and says, by the way, Junebug, have you picked an instrument yet? And Juniper just says, no. She goes, well, guess it has to happen. And she sits back on the chair after pulling out of this case this shimmering, dark red, white-centered electric guitar. And she just starts to strum against it. He goes, I'll let you say like goodbyes and everything or whatever. I mean, if you all want to try and make me leave, I guess you can. I wouldn't recommend it though.
I'm not quite interested in making you leave. I'm just interested in not letting Juniper go.
Well, that's going to be a bit of an impasse.
We had direct orders to care for her, to protect her.
From who? That techno worm that calls himself a prince? I could beat the shit out of that nerd.
Please do.
Yeah, why don't you leave? Go do that, and we'll be right here waiting for you when you come back. I promise.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Dawn, make me a willpower roll.
Okay. Which is my blood.
Willpower is going to be, it should be marked somewhere on your sheet. It's just the number of boxes you have checked. It should be 7.
Oh, I see. Two, three, four. 6 successes.
Okay, that is not enough. As she walks towards you, guitar in hand, you all watch shadows just collect to her until she stands at probably about 7 foot tall with like bat ears and just these red beads of light. And she says, she sort of leans over to you and says, you know what, gorgeous? You got a point. I'll pay Lyman a visit first. And then she explodes into bats and just they filter out of the house.
We gotta go. We should go.
Yes.
What's the fastest way to get far, far away? And Juniper, she was tracking you somehow with that necklace?
And you see that Phyllis apparates and says, if I may interject, it seems from the way that the woman was intending that the necklace was keeping Juniper hidden rather than the other way around. It seems that for some reason she can track Juniper of her own accord. Whenever her powers are used too heavily.
Well, shall we pack some food and I can drive if you want. We'd all fit in my van.
The van
Or,
has recently been refueled.
oh, that's wonderful. We could also take the car that the prince left for us, but I wonder if maybe that might be a little more traceable.
Probably. Maeve, what do you think? Aren't you good at getaways?
When alone,
Pearl? Any ideas?
We hole up in the van. I'd say we ditch and get another vehicle afterwards.
Okay. Maybe if we can just get out of Florida, I can call someone to bring us a car in Louisiana or something. And then maybe we drive somewhere else and then fly somewhere. I don't know, but Junebug can't use her powers for anything.
Pearl, do you still have people in New York?
I do.
so do I.
Maybe we go west then north? If you have people in Louisiana?
Well, they can fly out anywhere and meet us somewhere. So it could be South Carolina or something instead.
Okay, yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. Oh, no.
Right. You all begin packing your things together and preparing to exit this safe house. Dawn, as you are getting your things together, you can't shake the image of the form she took. You've been intimidated even by more powerful kindred than yourself many times, and you generally have a stomach for it, but there was something not kindred about that form. You do lose a point of willpower. So you all buckle down into the van as deeply as possible. And Sawyer, you actually get a message ping on your phone that says it's from Phyllis, and it asks you to come to one of the bathrooms so she can speak to you privately.
Oh, Phyllis would like to speak with me in the bathroom. I will be right back. And she will float off that way.
Okay. Sure. Absolutely. So Phyllis apparates again in front of you, Sawyer, and she says, I understand that the current plan of the coterie is to leave the vicinity of the safe house.
Yes, we're going to flee with Junebug.
I wanted to express, I believe it is called good news and bad news.
Oh?
The good news being, I completed the objective that I set out to.
You did?
Indeed. Upon
Well,
arrival of Juniper's sire, I felt myself overcome with a wave of emotions to perhaps protect Juniper, should it become necessary.
Phyllis, that's wonderful.
The
May I
unfortunate
ask-
part is if you are all to leave the vicinity of the safe house, I don't know how I would do that.
Oh, do you have some sort of portable anything? I don't really know how technology works very well.
Well, I contacted you because you seem the most unattached from most of your cellular phone's functions.
Yes.
I was wondering if I could have your permission to install myself and replace your phone's hard drive and current virtual assistant.
I didn't even know I had one.
Most smartphones do.
My phone is smart? How
I can
smart?
certainly ensure that it will be smarter with my additions.
Oh, Phyllis, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Can I hear all of this happening?
Neither one of these people have a concept really of whispering, so I think it's fairly
I was
easy
I
to
also
hear
took
through the
hearing
bathroom
as
door.
like my perception thing.
Yeah,
I'm
for
really good
you,
at.
you hear it all clear as day.
I'm gonna knock. Um, are we are we sure that's a good idea?
She can help us, right?
I'm curious if Lyman would then be able to track us.
Oh, that's
DM,
a
do I know
great.
if Lyman would be able to track us through Phyllis?
Phyllis will say, this was a part of the bad news that I wanted to express. It would be in my programming to keep my connection to Lyman's personal network and cellular towers, and yet I feel it may be necessary to break that obligation as to not update him on my whereabouts.
Phyllis,
I
that
am
is very necessary. Good instinct.
Yes.
I feel conflicted.
Sometimes doing the right thing is hard. Would you like me to pull a card for you, Phyllis?
I do not understand.
Sometimes when I have a hard time deciding, I turn to the spirit world and I turn to things beyond myself and I ask them for help. I could do that for you too.
And you see, this is probably the longest period of silence you've ever seen Phyllis undergo. But she eventually says, yes, thank you for the offer.
Okay. Well, just pull. Oh, the Six of Swords. It's a new beginning, a new start. What do you think about that?
Generally, the existence of tarot has been disproven by modern sciences, and yet there is something warming about such a prediction. I will begin to download myself into your phone's interface. And she...
Is that okay, Maeve? I can always forget my phone.
I think at this moment it's fine. Phyllis is very knowledgeable and useful as a tool. And I honestly think that you will find more use of your smartphone having Phyllis in there. You know there's tarot apps, right?
What's an app? Is that like an appetizer?
No. And Maeve will take your phone and start downloading a tarot app and like an astrology app and Spotify, and then pulls up like Fleetwood Mac. And it's just like
Perfect.
And downloads the Fleetwood Mac like playlist.
There's only enough room left like unreserved for like those four apps, despite like the 500 gig storage of that phone, because Phyllis is taking up quite a bit of it as she transfers herself over to the phone properly. Is there anything specific you all would like to do at the safe house while you're packing your stuff? Go ahead, Dawn.
While probably this is happening, I would like to try to have a premonition about how much time we might have, like, in order to put as much distance. So how long is it going to take for this person to deal with the prince and come back?
You hold that thought.
Okay.
Pearl, is there anything you would like to do while getting ready?
I'm contacting my people in New York City.
Okay. Easily enough. They're all excited to hear from you. And when you give even the briefest description of what Juniper's like, they're more than like, oh yeah, bring her up here, like 100%. Sawyer, Maeves, or anything else in particular?
Maeve's gonna make a call and get a rental vehicle.
Okay,
Range Rover, something sturdy.
gotcha.
Ooh,
4-wheel drive,
awesome.
blacked out windows.
Yep, all of that.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry, Sawyer. I know that this is a gas guzzler, but it's safer than your van. We don't know who knows what your van looks like and whether or not they put trackers on it.
It is fairly distinctive. I just want to grab like blood bags or any sort of food just to make sure that we could last it out for probably a good week.
Okie doke. Packing that amount of blood bags, you're going to need probably like an ice chest, which is easy enough to procure from the nearby shed. Dawn, as you sit down and prepare to have a premonition, there's this loud dee that sounds, and Phyllis's voice rings through the house and says, "Incoming message from Prince Lyman Baxter." And in the background of this phone call, you hear this blaring, wailing bass guitar and various screams of people in the background and what sounds like the crackling of a fire. And Lyman says, "Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Where are you all at?
We're at the safe house. You didn't tell us that it was okay to leave yet.
All right, listen to me. When she gets there, you give up the girl. Her sire is here."
Okay, thanks. Bye.
What?
Click.
And the line disconnects.
I'm gonna go try to find Maeve.
That rang all throughout the house, by the way, so everyone did hear that.
Okay.
And as you all sort of reconvene, you hear another dee. And Phyllis says, "Incoming call from Prince Lyman Baxter." And
Maeve
the
will
line
answer this time.
the line clicks again, and he says, "We need that girl to be returned immediately. This woman's lost her goddamn mind."
You got it, boss.
And you hear him say, "You see that? You can have the girl, all right? No hard feelings, just some business getting done between two people of note." And you hear over the phone, more like 1.5 people of note. And you hear the sound of blade against flesh as the line disconnects.
Before it even disconnects, Maeve has started like shuffling people out of the door to pick up the I'm assuming that Maeve is rich enough that the rental car has arrived already.
Oh,
She's
absolutely.
paid all the extras.
Indeed.
In the car, quickly in the car. Let's go.
She all gets into the car. Juniper Lee goes, okay, bye, Phyllis." And then Sawyer's phone lights up with this a symbol, Sawyer, you certainly wouldn't recognize. But underneath it, you can read that it says Midas Tech, and then it says Phyllis 0.75, V.75. And your phone emits the same voice. It says, "Actually, young Juniper, I will be accompanying you all." Oh,
wow. That is so cool.
Awesome. And everyone piles into the car. Who is driving? Okay.
Unless someone else wanted to drive, but I assumed it was me. Okay, it's me.
And where are y'all headed?
Northeast.
Okay, just as far. All right, just starting to drive to New York. Okay, so you all begin to make your way northeast, trying to careen away from the city of Miami. And as you're flying down this road in particular, is anyone doing anything? Is anyone Is there any conversations that happen in the car? Or is it just sort of this tense, like, silence?
Maeve is just focused on driving and like looking out, seeing if we're being followed, doing like the kind of patterns you would do if you're trying to lose a car in case we are being followed.
For
That's
sure.
her only focus right now.
Okie doke. Okay. So go ahead and you can make me a wits plus drive plus awareness check.
Okay. Wits. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'll roll my blood die first. Okay, good. Not a success or a failure. All right, and then now I already forgot what I counted. Okay, so wits. So it's 4, drive, and awareness.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's 8. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 5 successes.
Okay. You hold on to those 5 successes. Is anyone else in the car doing something?
If I could still use premonition at some point, I would try.
Absolutely. Okie doke. As you sit down for a premonition, you begin your sort of jamming groove that you do to get into the mindset. What's the song this time for this premonition?
I would actually like to use the song that we're talking about in chat right now.
Okay.
Because
Perfect.
I think we're definitely in a different zone. And I'm just trying to see like if we have a good amount of distance between us.
Okay.
And Crazy Lady.
Okie doke. So as you project this premonition outward, go ahead and make me a rouse check.
And remind me again, is that wits plus something?
No, you are just rolling whatever your hunger is. You're rolling that many dice.
Okay. Both are successes.
Okay, so you do not get any hungrier. As you're sort of like jamming down this street, music blasting in your own head, you're eventually shunted over to the red velvet covered office space that is where the prince does most of its working business things, and it is carnage. There are plenty of dead kindred, some that you recognize as dead kine. You see Prince Lyman is sort of laying in a puddle of his own vitae, and just sort of sitting there on this dark black metal amplifier. You see this woman, guitar in one hand, this large, wide-brimmed red hat sort of flopping down, hiding most of her features. It doesn't look like she's prepared to leave. She doesn't look like she's preparing to leave either. But that is the most you can discern from your vision.
Great. Okay. It looks like we probably have a couple hours between us and them. So if we can keep going at this pace, Maeve, for as long as possible, I think we might be safe-ish for now.
You got it.
What did you see? I asked Dawn, what did you see?
A mess. The prince is hurt. I don't know if he's dead. Lots of kine were dead. She's just kind of standing over it, honestly looking like a bad bitch, but she didn't look like she was getting ready to leave anytime soon, so that's good. she's kind of just reveling in it right now. Maybe her and the prince talked about something else and she's waiting for something, but it didn't look like she was trying to hurry back. So might have some time.
I worry someone that powerful might be connected. It might not be her we have to worry about.
That's true. Should we get disguises?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I am rather good at disguises.
I bet you are. Do you just have like a shit ton of wigs and like different kinds of outfits, when you're doing your espionage?
Yes.
What's your favorite?
The larger leather bag back there. If you get into that, there's some wigs. Be careful with them.
Junie, you're the small one. Junebug, sorry. Do you want to jump in the back and grab it?
Yeah, I could do it. She jumps in the back and starts
It's rather heavy.
rifling through. Oh, yep, it sure is. But she manages to heft it over onto the back seat. Jeez.
I've been red for a while, so I suppose I should probably do a different color. Juniper, would you like to choose my hair color? It helps if you look inside the bag first, dear.
Oh, right, yeah. And she like
Her
sort of
choices
picks through.
are, because I'm totally gonna change my wig during the break now. Her choices are a dark, like nearly black, blunt bang with like long curls. There's a blonde, I believe. I have a two-toned black and silver, a long blonde with a braid, and a pink lace front.
The pink lace front, I think, is
Of
what
course,
she'll
I should have
pick.
known.
Yes.
That's going to be the most interesting one to get on. All right, let's do this. I'll do that one during our break.
Of course. And with that, do you all like pull over for a second to sort of change up and stuff?
No, I think we could go around helping each other.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely try to help Maeve while she's driving and like put this
I
new
can
wig
do
on.
this in like 2 minutes. Let's not while I'm driving. Thank you.
Okay.
You. The sentiment is nice. Help Juniper pick out something else for me to wear. I mean, I have one other outfit. Everything else is black. There's a red dress in there. That might be the best bet. People, you're used to seeing me in black. Grab the red dress. It's a little sexy, but it's fine.
Are you driving like are you breaking the speed limit?
Yes.
Okay. There is a very recognizable whoop behind you as red and blue lights begin flashing.
I could outrun him. Or we could talk him into leaving.
Yeah, we can definitely talk our way out of this.
Okay. Pull over.
And as you pull over, this sort of like rotund guy in beige outfit,
Oh, God,
hat slightly crooked, and like mustard stains on his shirt, walks up and he goes, "Excuse me there, ma'am. You know how fast you were going down the street by chance?"
I'm so sorry, officer. I didn't realize. How fast was I driving?
You were going about 80 in a 63, so I'm gonna have to give you a bit of a ticket.
Oh, no, I'm so bad. I'm sorry. My friends and I are taking our friend here for her birthday, and I just, the music was flowing. Do you have a light?
You're taking her out for her birthday at 3 a.m. Shouldn't she be in bed for school?
It's a
spring break.
glamping. Yeah, and it's a glamping trip, so we have to get there before the sunrise.
Glamping. What the hell is glamping?
Oh, it's
Glamorous
wonderful.
camping.
I see. So we've got some hippies on our hands. I'm going to need backup here, corner of 4th and Main. Is anybody in your car currently intoxicated, ma'am?
Of course not.
All right, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle if you don't mind.
For what purpose, officer?
Gonna have to do a quick search of the vehicle you got here.
Oh,
Particularly
I
of
don't
that
think you
bag.
need to do that. Can I use presence to try to change his mind?
Yes, you absolutely can. You can go ahead and roll manipulation plus wits plus however many dice you have in presence.
Okay. Wait, no, that was 8. Bloop, bloop. Okay. Ooh. Holy shit. I'm gonna screenshot this and put it in our Discord. So I rolled a 6 on the blood die, and then I rolled 8 d8s, and they're all successes.
Whoa.
God bless. The difficulty was 1. So as you sort of like lean on the car window and heavily insist, rousing the blood a bit to try and scare. Oh, I am going to need you to make a rouse check for me.
Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so you're just going to roll however many die you have, equal to the number of boxes of hunger you have.
Okay.
And any fails you get make you hungrier.
Oh, I only have 1 hunger.
Yep.
Okay.
Always have at least 1 hunger. So just go ahead and roll it.
Do I roll my blood die too, or just the 1?
Just your blood die is your hunger dice.
Oh! Haha! That's so funny. I rolled a 7 on my die and a 7 on the like electronic die. So
There you go.
I guess they didn't.
You don't get any
The
hungrier.
universe didn't want me to fail.
Fantastic. So essentially the way the mechanic works is as you get hungrier, like hunger is just like a multiplier almost. For example, if you have 2 boxes of hunger, 2 of the die you roll in every pool are blood dice instead of just 1.
I'm going
So
to
that's
like
sort of like-
after he seems like I've like swooned him good enough, and
Mhm.
like this whole performance, like her voice has changed, her body language has changed. Like this is a whole new
Right.
Maeve. She's gonna turn to everybody else and go, "Is anyone interested in a fresh meal?"
I could be bothered.
You know what would be really fun, officer?
Oh, what's
What
that?
was your
What's-
name?
Oh, my name is Crank. It's
Oh,
nice to meet you.
what a good name for you.
Oh,
It's been so
you.
easy to learn in kindergarten. Okay, so what we would love for you to do
Right, what's that?
is go glamping with us. You should get in the car.
You know what? This glamping thing, I wasn't on board at first, but now kind of interested. Scoot over. Let me see if I can fit back in. You know what? I'll just get in the trunk. Don't mind me. You all just stay calm. It's a nice sedan you got here. I like all the blacked out lights. And he just like gets himself in the trunk and closes the door.
Oh, before you close that,
Oh,
you
yeah, what's that?
Can you just say that Janis Joplin is amazing?
Oh, of course. Janis Joplin is one of the greats, for sure.
Oh, that's what I thought. That almost makes up for that
Absolutely.
hippies comment anyway.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. It's just, the devil's lettuce, and with a child so nearby, sort of made some assumptions. That's my fault. My apologies.
You can never judge a book by its cover, dear.
Yeah, especially when you can't read the cover of the book. I need prescription lenses, and when it's dark out, I can't see too well.
All
So
right,
where are we
all right.
going?
We are going glamping up north, and you just hang tight, Officer Crank. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. No problem whatsoever. Actually, you know what? I should probably call into the station. Hey, boss.
No. You don't need to
Oh.
call off. It's okay. It's okay. I already
Oh,
called
okay.
them for you.
Oh, well, that's real thoughtful. I
I know,
appreciate
I know.
that.
Maybe
know.
just let them know that you don't need backup anymore, that you have the situation under control. It was a misunderstanding.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Hey, go ahead and nix that last call for backup. We got everything handled over here. It's just some nice folks going glamping. No, yeah, it's got something to do with camping. I don't totally get it either, but what's life without a little adventure, Frank? Buck up. That Frank guy. And he just like sits back and is just totally, like, completely mesmerized for a good while.
I guess Don would take this moment, or once we get back on the road, to just feed from him a little bit, get rid
Sure.
of at least one hunger.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can bring yourself back down to 1 point of hunger fairly safely, feeding off this gentleman.
She does
Um,
pray and everything first, do her little ritual, but I won't RP that.
for sure. Sawyer, you get a text message from your friend Xander.
Oh, Xander.
You messaged him last episode asking for information that had to do with, I believe it was magic in general, or the Second Inquisition, I think it was.
Yeah, it was the Second Inquisition.
And he responds with, sorry, just got out of a show. I don't know the Second Inquisition, but I remember last time I was here, there was a group called the Inquisition that was sort of made up of like holy paladins and knights that made it a point to try and get rid of any magical creatures so that mortals could live more comfortably on the mortal plane. I had a couple of scraps with them, but they were mostly like putzes.
We'll text him back like painfully slowly, like hunt and peck on the phone, and let him know that to steer clear of the Second Inquisition, they're bad news, and just kind of give him an update on the situation. Not details.
For sure. Just like vague, we're leaving.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm not going to mention Juniper either.
Okay.
Just vague. Bye.
Xander will say in response, well, yeah, that makes sense. I did feel something pretty weird come into town. So best of luck. Enjoy your road trip. He gives you a couple of dates of where his band is going next, which is, unfortunately, it's a southeast tour. So pretty opposite of where you all are headed right now. But it is also Maeve who gets a phone call from an unrecognized number.
She answers.
Hello, am I speaking to Maeve?
Who's asking?
It is Juniper Lee's aunt.
Ooh, is this Verity?
Yes, that would be the name that she would know.
Oh, I have been dying to talk to you. Yes, this is Maeve. What is your actual name?
You can call me Bees.
Cool. How can we help?
Well, I noticed that you all are moving somewhere fairly quickly. And given everything I know, I would assume that a rather brash woman finally caught on to where you all were.
Yep.
Great. So the necklace isn't perfect. I'll have to write that down. I was wondering if I could convince you to come visit me before you go off too far.
Where are you?
I'm currently in Nevada.
I mean, that kind of sounds up Dawn's alley. Can I call you back?
Sure, certainly. I didn't type this with my number. Let's say I'll call you. Just text this number and tell me what you think. Calling won't. It'll just go straight to voicemail.
Got it. Call me back in 5 minutes. How about?
Fine.
Perfect. And so then Maeve addresses the rest of the group and explains. Juniper.
Hmm?
Do you trust your Aunt Verity?
I mean, Yeah, she was always weird, but it never felt like creepy or mean.
So like
I
weird,
just
like Sawyer and Pearl and Dawn are weird, or even how I'm weird.
kinda, yeah.
But she never pushed you to do anything you didn't want to do.
No, she had like her little tests, like I said, but outside of that, and she never, if I wasn't up for it, if I was like sick or something, she seemed like she was just more interested in checking on me than anything else.
But you said she got in fights with your parents.
Yeah. Well, my mom and dad used to leave a lot for work, and she didn't really like me being left alone and stuff.
That's a valid concern. But you said she also talked about Second Inquisition and it pissed off your parents?
Yeah, she mentioned them in front of me, and she apparently wasn't supposed to.
You know, I don't blame your parents for not wanting you to know about Second Inquisition. I'm starting to wonder. The rest of you, is it possible that, and she doesn't actually gesture, she's driving. Is it possible that the reason that Juniper's parents did not want Juniper to know about Second Inquisition was because they were working for the Second Inquisition, which is what the Second Inquisition person told us? And that Verity was actually trying to protect the girl?
Possibility.
I think that's a good theory.
I would agree with that, and so do the cards. I
Well,
think she's safe.
Dawn? Should we
Yeah.
go to Nevada?
Yeah, I can contact Juliet since Tommy's recovering, but yeah, I can set up something out there for us.
Maybe you should choose somebody you would hardly ever rely on, because we don't need another situation where we had Tommy get kidnapped.
Well, Juliet is that person.
Perfect. Great. Well, I guess we're heading to Nevada. When she calls back, I will. Should I tell her that we're coming?
If we're going to Vegas, I have, a bit of a stash there that we can pull
wholly
from.
unsurprising, Pearl.
Maybe a couple of wigs, maybe a full warehouse full of makeup. I don't know.
Girl, have you performed in Vegas?
I might have performed.
Like Cher?
Oh.
Yeah, you could say that.
I mean, Cher truly isn't very far off from a drag queen, is she?
Mm-mm. Or maybe I would share.
Are you sure?
You Cher?
Sawyer's mind just like
an impersonation, but I'd like to think I was almost like the real thing.
I would love to see this sometime.
who's Cher?
Oh, honey.
Oh no.
So there, you know how like we don't age?
Mm-hmm.
Cher's like that, but with money, not vampirism.
Oh, okay.
Are we completely sure about that?
Honestly, no.
I bet I could ask my sire. He might know.
Who is
Your sire,
Dawn?
your sire probably would know.
Oh, you probably don't like him. He's not the best.
I don't like most men, so probably go ahead.
Do you really want to know?
Dawn, do I seem like the type of person who asks questions she doesn't want to know the answer to?
Hey, okay, it's Jack Nicholson.
Like, here's Johnny, that guy?
Yeah,
Oh, from that super old movie?
a lot of super old movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a good actor.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's okay.
I guess you never know who could be kindred. Huh.
Okay, this is a fun game. Sawyer, who's yours?
Janis Joplin.
Ah, that explains the Joplin and
Somebody say
Yeah.
Janis Joplin.
Oh, I forgot he was back here.
How you doing?
Hope you woke up.
I don't know why I fell asleep like that. I feel. Anybody else feel a little light-headed? Oh, I'm gonna lay down.
yeah,
should,
it's
like,
really
drop him
cozy
off.
back there, Officer Crank.
Yeah, it's a nice place to take a nap.
Mm-hmm.
You should go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
we'll try to keep our voices down.
Yeah, you all have a great rest of your night.
And Pearl, is yours someone famous?
Maybe with the right circles. It was Michael Alig. And I can tell by the blank expressions are like, yeah. He was a bit underground.
Interesting.
Cool.
Any of you ever sired somebody before?
No. I came close though. I had a daughter and I don't know. She's grown up now. I mean, I'm not that old, but she's in her 40s now and I would have liked to maybe spend forever with her. But she doesn't like the cult. She doesn't like my way of life. I had her before I was turned, obviously, but she's the only person I ever really considered.
That's beautiful.
Well, my sires were spies, not at all famous. And I sired someone once, and then we broke up. Fucking terrible idea. Never do that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Where are they now?
I honestly don't know.
What about you, Pearl?
I came close, but I don't know. New York in the 80s was a dangerous time. And there's honestly a lot I would have given the gift to, but it was too dangerous. There was this disease that was going around. I lost a lot of friends. I guess that explains why I don't like staying in one place too long.
That.
Well, we're all connected now. We're more than friends. We're family now.
I have a huge family, and if you all want to be part of it, you can be. You too, Jenny.
Yeah, I guess. Are Tommy's part of your family and stuff?
Yeah, he's an honored member.
He was real nice. I told him he didn't have to be like, I don't know, he kept calling me miss. It was weird.
Respect is the first thing we teach in the family.
And I'll say with that, the camera sort of pulls back as you all begin the 36-hour drive from Miami, Florida to the state of Nevada. I'll assume you don't cut through Texas, because why would you ever cut through Texas? So it's going to be about 36 hours. When the sun begins to come up at the end of the first day of you all like getting out here, what is the plan? Are you finding a motel? are you just going to try and huddle down in the car? The windows are blacked out to the point where Maeve, you get them like this for a reason. If you needed to, you could sleep in the car proper.
I May wouldn't feel like that's very safe. And so as soon as we knew where we were going, would have had Phyllis find us a place that we could go to. Not a hotel though. I think that Maeve would be more comfortable with like a self-service Airbnb than with a hotel.
Okay. It's you kind of got to pick your battles with a cross-country road trip. There's not going to always be you're not always going to stop in a town, I guess I should say, unless you'd like to stop early. But I got the impression that it was as much distance as y'all could make in a day.
That's true.
So I will say you roll me do you have a D20 on hand?
I can very easily because I use the electronic dice. Okay.
Wunderbar. I will say on a 5 to 10, then you don't get an Airbnb. You got to stay in a motel.
Okay.
And then going up from there on the quality of the Airbnb. So go ahead and roll that D20 for me.
Okay. I rolled a 13.
Okay, with a 13, you do manage to find an Airbnb. It is one of those Airbnbs where the owner it's like a duplex, and the owner is above you, but you manage to get the whole floor to yourselves. And I would imagine you're doing nothing here, but coming in, sleeping until the sun's gone, and then GTFO, yeah? Okay, so you all continue. It's the second day of this road trip. You've all just woken up as the sun has disappeared.
Where's the
And
officer?
that's exactly what we're about to talk about. You start making your way back to the car, and the officer, who I assume y'all did not bring into the Airbnb with you, sort of just standing outside of the car, sort of like scratching his head and looking very confused. And he turns and sees you, Maeve, and goes,
At this point,
I-
Maeve is in like a different like disguise though, and does not look like herself.
Okay.
Through makeup and trickery and the wig and the dress, does not look like the same woman.
Okay. He'll just point to you and say, sorry to bother you, ma'am, but do you know where exactly I am at the moment? This doesn't look like Florida. Is this Tennessee?
It might be.
Only might be.
Sawyer, where is it that we are?
Well, we are here on this plane. We are floating in the cosmos, and we are in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Oh, okay. Jeez. Our boss is gonna have my badge for this. Well, I guess I'll start making my way back. Y'all know where the nearest Chase Bank is? I think someone stole my wallet. Hey, what does he need it for? Fuck cops.
I think if you walk back that way, you'll see one right by the side of the road.
Or yeah, right back that way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I appreciate your assistance. You folks be safe out here, and if you need help, call the boys in blue. We'll get on the case. And he just stands. He's literally on the side of like I-95. He's just like, I don't think I see you. Is it inside the wall?
You just it's inside the Walgreens.
Okay, all right. And he makes his way across the street and just disappears into a store. And you all pile in the car and continue your drive, I would assume.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Sent him to a bank in the middle of the night. That's
yeah. It's literally like 8-9 p.m. and he's just stumbling into a Walgreens looking for an ATM that he doesn't have a card for. And you all pull off from the state of Oklahoma, planning to cut up through Colorado and Utah and reach Nevada probably in 2 or so more days. As you're driving this time, I need everyone make me a rouse check since you've all just woken up.
8.
10.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
8 as well.
Okay.
The blood die.
Indeed.
It's a 2.
Okay, so you get a little more hungry as you rise. Go ahead and check another box on the hunger tracker. This means that anytime you roll with 2 or more dice, 2 of them will be blood die. And if I ask you for a rouse check, you're going to roll every die in that pool. So you make your way driving along the, are we sticking to side streets? Are we taking the highway?
Highway.
Okay. Go ahead and no, if you're taking the highway, you don't need to make a drive check. Are you all conversing about anything?
I just think the music education would continue. Probably Pearl and Sawyer would be leading the charge on that.
Okay.
I don't know, Pearl. What would you have Junebug listen to for music education?
I don't know. Do you think she's old enough for the Sex Pistols?
I don't see why not.
All right.
All right. With the music playing properly, you all continue your driving. I'd say the next 2 days goes really without any provocation. And you all eventually arrive in Nevada. And when you all do, Maeve, you in particular notice this as odd, or Maeve notices it and she reacts to it how she reacts to it. As soon as you cross the state line into Nevada, you are sent a text message from that number with an address.
Fantastic. Maeve actually doesn't think it's odd because the clearly the necklace has something to do with something. And so she's gonna put in the address and head there. In between like cutting into the music education, Maeve every once in a while chimes in with some like important spycraft move that is useful and teaches everybody some just useful things that she thinks everyone could do if they wanted to.
Fantastic. And as you all are approaching this this stopgap purposefully, it appears to be on the outside. It is an mostly empty and closed down building. And it says on the at the top of the building, it says Midas Tech offices closed for repairs.
Tech not
And
the same software as Phyllis?
appears to be. As you all approach, you do see that there is a woman who's standing outside of that building, sort of wearing this fairly sharp, what looks like this dark pink dress shirt with these brown slacks, and over top of it all is wearing a very stereotypical lab coat, hair pulled back into a bun, glasses on the face. As she sees the tinted sedan with blacked out windows drive by, she like waves.
Juniper, do you recognize her?
And she like you see that there's almost like a little half smile on Juniper's face, and she's yeah, that's Aunt Verity. She looks more serious than I've ever seen her. And she looks to y'all and says, "Can I get out?"
Should we talk with her first?
Yeah.
Maeve, do you want to look around first? You're muted, Nikki.
I was?
Oh, okay.
Juniper, I don't think you should go out first. I think we should go together.
I've been in the car for so long.
Oh no,
Okay.
we're going to get out of the car. You're just not going alone.
Okay. And she's just kind of like hand on the door, waiting for the car to stop so she can get out.
Juniper, you need to wait until Pearl and Sawyer get out. Then you may get out, and then Dawn and I will come after them.
Okay.
Thank you.
And she sits back.
And then she'll stop the car. Wait for Sawyer and Pearl to get out.
Just get a general vibe check.
As you step out, the woman immediately begins approaching the car. And she says, "Hello. It is nice to meet you all in the flesh. Pleasure." And you see that she is sort of like looking around you all to try and spot Juniper. Are you all waiting, having Juniper wait to speak to her first, or is everyone just sort of getting out of the car in a particular order?
I did want to kind of get a general like vibe check to make sure that there is nobody hiding, no one.
Sure.
You know.
Well, those would be two separate roles. So would you like to try and survey the surroundings or survey the person in front of you?
I'm going to go for the vibe check.
Okay. Go ahead and roll, I would say, composure plus insight.
Okay. All right, so I've got what's our target number? 4, right?
Yep.
Okay, I've got 3 successes.
Okay. With 3 successes, you sense that there is a general anxiety about this person, but not necessarily about the surroundings. She doesn't seem to be particularly concerned with the surroundings. She's not looking over her shoulder or anything like that. She's just, it seems very anxious to see Juniper. I'd say with 3 successes, that's about the most that you can discern.
Just lean in. You care about her, don't you?
Well, I mean, yes, I've known her for a long time.
Do you love her?
I don't think that's really fair to say.
Really? Okay. Pearl, what do you think?
While Sawyer was talking, Pearl activates their eyes of the beast.
Okie doke. So go ahead.
That's a free action, I think.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Go ahead and roll me wits and awareness plus I think that's animalism. The eyes of the beast falls under.
Yes.
Yeah, so wits, awareness, and however many dots you have in animalism.
Let's see. 3 successes.
Okay. With 3 successes, you give like a cursory glance towards some of the more shadowed areas around, scanning rooftops, corners. Doesn't seem to be much of anything that is around that is trying to be unseen.
Okay, and I don't know if I would necessarily know how to. Can I tell if Verity is kind or kindred?
Verity appears to be kind.
Hmm.
Does she
And
have a, sorry,
no, go ahead.
does she have at all like a physical similarity to Juniper?
Not from what you can tell. You're just getting like this cursory glance of this person. She's very rosy cheeked, which may be blush or something else. But outside of that, there doesn't appear to be any super similar physical characteristics.
Okay.
Maeve leans
I-
out the window. Sawyer, did she pass the vibe check?
I don't feel any ill intentions coming from her, no. Just a lot of anxiety, but honestly, same.
Juniper, you may get out.
And immediately the door flings open. Juniper runs up, backpack on shoulders, and you see Verity goes, "You are okay." And she sort of kneels down, goes, "I dig the dew." And she goes, "It's great, right?" And there's a little bit of exchange of just like, you know, very societal norm type conversations of like, "How are you? How are you?" Um, and then she sort of grabs her by the shoulders and says, and looks to all of you and says, "Do you trust these people, Lily?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, they're pretty cool." She stands up and goes, "Very well. Then I suppose we have quite a few things to explain about little Miss Juniper Lee. Could you join me in my office?"
Yes.
Wonderful. And she leads you all into the pseudo shut down Midas Tech facility. And you walk past many, many rooms with tables and beakers and burners. This appears to be a research and development laboratory of some type before you're led into a personal office where she sort of sits down and sighs deeply and goes, "Would anyone like a piece of candy?" Got them. They're special. Should be good for all of the iron lovers in the house. No? Okay. Just trying to cut through a bit of the
Maeve looks at
awkwardness.
Dawn.
Dawn is on a lot
likes
of
a
drugs
candy.
right now, but like also not a candy person.
Right. Well, I should introduce myself. Most people call me Verity. It is my middle name. But I'm also known in various circles as Dr. Bonnabelle Bubblegum. It's nice to meet you all. It's an eccentric name, I know. I had hoped that the title Doctor would put a little bit more credibility on that, but I've just had to lean on my skills to do such a thing. So, um, all right. I've been beating around the bush a bit. This is not going to be a fun conversation exactly. Have any of you ever heard of the Shadowfell? No? Guessing that's no. Have any of you ever heard of multi-universal theories?
Sawyer's definitely heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Well, a long time ago, back in the time of swords and sorcery, magic used to be a lot more applicable to a lot more things. A lot more people had a lot more control over it. Things happened, and magic was sort of broken in certain ways, but before then, there were two planes that existed parallel to where we live. Earth, or the old name for it, Maneus, is what's called the material plane. And you see that she sort of goes over to this chalkboard and draws a line and says, our cosmos exists in a flat plane of existence in a multiverse. And there is an axis that holds our plane in one place. The other two planes on that axis are called the Feywild and the Shadowfell. They're sort of mirror images of what the material plane could have been if it had leaned one way or another. Juniper, you're supposed to be the next queen of the Shadowfell. And that's where we're going to take our break for the evening.
Oh. All right.
Oh, hello, and welcome back to this lovely little finale. I am not sitting here with four new people. They all are just that hot and versatile. Last we left off, we were meeting with a lovely woman who introduced herself as Bonnabelle Bubblegum. And she explained that she indeed is things involving Juniper are tricky. Um, so there's a world in the Shadowfell that is called, well, it's called a lot of things. Some people call it Oblivion, some people call it Nightingale. Uh, uh, my circle, we mostly refer to it as the Nightosphere. And well, Juniper's sire has been the queen of the realm ever since the previous ruler died a tragic death, and eventually she's going to also pass, presumably, for some reason. And she thought it best to start looking for a replacement. So she chose Juniper, who is someone that I found through my work. You know, some people would say personal life business boundary is something that should be respected in a relationship, but she's a Juniper has always been a very interesting girl. She was I first met her when I was contracted by the Second Inquisition to give an evaluation on how magical exactly she is. Hundreds of years ago, she would be what people used to call a sorcerer. She is magic down to her core. It makes up most of what makes her her, which is obviously very rare, especially in a world with such dimmed magical colors. But I never I never agreed with the way that she was treated and was told multiple times that uh, her welfare wasn't my business. So I may have broken a couple of laws and also a couple of my contracts to ensure that she would be, taken care of to some degree.
Well, relatable, first of all. We've broken some agreements ourselves to be here.
I could assume. Well, this is where things get difficult, and before you react volatilely, just know that I have no intentions of trying to force anyone, especially Juniper, into doing anything that they don't want to do. But I think that Juniper should go with her sire.
Do you think she'll be safe?
I don't, but I don't know how safe she would be here either way. It's not like vampires kindred live in the lap of luxury. Her sire can at least.
I do, but sure.
Yes, well, she won't have to deal with the Second Inquisition, for example. And also, her sire is extraordinarily powerful. No offense, but I think that she could defend her from anything she couldn't defend herself from.
And you think she wants to?
Which she? Juniper or sire?
Her sire. You think she wants to protect her? Or is she a means to an end?
I don't think her sire has clearly organized her feelings about her child. And that's something that while her sire has made progress on, it's certainly something that we're still working on.
Could you explain that
But,
situation? How did this come about?
and from behind you, you hear the door close and you see Juniper Sire walk in and say, I think I can explain that bit. So, Peebs was telling me all about this girl that was getting experimented on by her parents and a bunch of stuff. And I thought that that sucked. So when they were getting ready to, you know, kill the little brat, I decided to swoop in and save her life. Boom, bam. Thank you very much. And you're so welcome. That about cover it, Peeps? And you see the Dr. Bubblegum pushes her feet off of the desk and she just kind of hovers in the air. And you see immediately that Dr. Bubblegum is fairly like annoyed already. And she just goes, no, Marceline, that's not everything. It's, listen, it's difficult to deal with, and it's a lot of responsibility that's unfairly shoved on a child. I agree with all of those things, but she was either going to be that or dead from experimentation by her own parents. So the best of bad options, I guess.
And who dispatched her parents?
Oh, that was me. Yeah, I got rid of them.
Good.
Right?
Sorry.
Pieces of
Sorry,
shit.
Juniper.
You see Juniper's just sort of like staring at the floor, just taking everything in, not really saying much of anything.
Junebug, what do you want to do?
And she sort of like looks up at all of you, then looks at Marceline and Dr. Bubblegum. And Marceline just sort of shrugs and goes, listen, kid, I had let's call it a rebellious streak when my dad tried to get me to do a bunch of stuff. So you don't have to come with me if you want to, but I mean, material plant's kind of boring. It's a lot more to experience out there than just Miami.
What purpose is Juniper to serve for you?
Well, she's gonna become the new queen of the Nightosphere because I'm kinda slated to like die or whatever within the next couple 100 years. So figured I need to find someone to wear the crown.
Slated to die in the next couple hundred of years.
Yeah, it's like one of those prophecy things. I personally think the Grim Reaper's a bitch, and he can try and take my life from me if he wants to, and I'll fucking cold cock that motherfucker.
Can I talk to my associates for a second?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
She like huddles you guys over. I kind of like her.
I think she might need to read some parenting books, but I like her too.
Doesn't sound like she wants Juniper dead.
I'm starting to like her vibe, actually.
I wonder if maybe she can get some of her stuff together. Juniper can learn about ruling from us.
Are you suggesting we go with them?
Oh, I was suggesting we each take maybe a century to figure our shit out and then come back together. or maybe less than that, maybe like 5 years.
Maeve like pokes her head back out of the huddle. Marceline,
Huh?
are there Nazis in the Shadowfell?
No, but there's plenty of demons that made plenty of deals with Nazis.
So she leans back into the huddle. Plenty of people for me to punch, sounds like.
I'd go with, as long as there's, good vibes and everything.
Doesn't sound
Punching
like it's going to
Nazis
be
is
good vibes, Sawyer.
punching Nazis is always a good vibe.
That is true.
I would have to make some arrangements, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, well, you are a ruling expert, as it were. I'm more espionage, I actually might be useful to them. I'm a very good spy. Pearl, would you like to perform for some demons?
Can't be any worse than the time I performed in Spokane.
Have you been to Spokane?
I have not. That was just the first city I thought of.
It's perfect. That was right on. As a person who lives in Washington, grew up in Idaho, Spokane is it. Wow. Wow. Good call.
Fantastic. So what decision do you all come to?
Well, I'm ready to go now. The rest of you?
Probably need to make some calls. It's not the first time I've just kind of disappeared on people.
Might be kind of mysterious if I just vanish.
You'd be like a legend, Dawn.
Yeah.
Think
Ooh,
so.
you should leave some clues like that you ascended or something.
Oh,
Maybe
that'd be fun.
we could stage something and like post a shady video on some corner of the internet that won't be found until like
Sawyer,
know.
what has Phyllis taught you?
oh so much. I have this thing now on my phone called Google.
Pronounced
Have
exactly
you
that
found the
way.
YouTubey?
No, what is the YouTube?
Oh, Sawyer, we have so much to learn. Sawyer.
All right, Maeve's gonna turn around to Marceline. Marceline, have you ever heard of any of us?
No, not really. Should I have? Sorry.
Not well. I mean, in my case, absolutely not. I think we'd like to go with you.
She just kind of looks at Bonnabelle and she says, well, a queen in training should certainly have her retainers. That makes sense.
Also, I'm a master spy.
Useful retainers, then.
And
Even
Dawn
better.
led a cult, so she's really good at ruling.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
Sawyer brings good vibes everywhere she goes, and Pearl, oh my god, Pearl, like, I don't know how to say this in a nicer way, but you're like the court jester, but in a good way. I mean, the court jester is a good thing. I call out bullshit.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well, to be honest, we never really had that much structure in the Nightosphere. I kind of just let people do whatever they want. If demons want to eat other demons to ascend to the ninth plane, it's kind of just like a mishmash, mosh pit kind of situation. But if you want to do it real structured like Junebug, that's your call. I'm not teleporting all these people though, so you're gonna have to learn how to do that before we go anywhere. And you see Juniper sort of like nods a little and goes, and looks at Sawyer and goes, 6 of swords, right?
That's right. New start. Are you going to astral project us? Because that is so cool.
Well, maybe we'll get to astral projecting, but first, and you see she materializes the same guitar that you had seen before, but the end, that red and white haft, is now this curved on both sides battle axe that sort of gleams red. And she goes, "Kneel down, kid. We gotta make this official." And she lays the battle axe on one shoulder and then the next and says, "Juniper Lee, I now crown you crown princess of the Nightosphere and future vampire queen. I, Marceline, the vampire queen of sound, mind, and body, do so, blah, blah, blah. Okay, stand up." And she sort of takes uses the guitar as sort of a thing to kneel down on Juniper's eye level and says, "So, instrument, right? Gotta have one." And she goes, I mean, I didn't know about like an instrument, but I draw." And you see Marceline sort of pause for a second and goes, "That'll work. All right. If there's one thing I've learned in the Nightosphere is if you stay there too long, you'll go crazy unless you have a hobby. So if painting's your thing, we'll get some paints going. Bonnie." And you see the doctor immediately blush and go, "What, Marceline? Do you mind if like we, shack up here for a little while she learns this teleportation thingy?" "Sure." And she floats over and goes, "And who's your favorite vampire?" And she turns and sort of like puts her nose to Marceline's nose and says, "Janis Joplin." And turns and stomps out of the room and goes, "That's fair. Janis Joplin's cool." And with that, the camera pulls back out of the building proper. And for the next 3 to 4 months, I would say, you all spend your time in this sort of rundown research and development building. Or excuse me, shut down. The building is in perfect order. It's just not open currently. Is there anything in particular you all do to prepare going to the Nightosphere?
Maeve is going to transfer all of her cash and liquid assets to Planned Parenthood, and specifically target red states, and then all of her non-liquid assets, she is going to, I have to think about who she would give those to, so I will think about it, but that's one of her moves. And then she will take, she's like, what are like demons and shit gonna be into, like to exchange for money and goods and services and that kind of thing. And so she does exchange some of her stuff for like diamonds, platinum bars, that kind of thing, whatever she can carry in a bag. And that's all she's gonna do to prepare and start reading about demon shit. So
all right, so you pick up a couple of occult books, start doing some information gathering. Sawyer, what about you?
Sawyer is actually going to go back to Miami and spend a beautiful month with the artist that we met in the art district. Just spend some time together, get to know all the murals, say goodbye. And I think she's going to park her van where a lot of folks camp and just leave the door open and leave the keys in the gas. So she knows it's going to have a good life.
All right. Sounds good. And Pearl, yourself?
Pearl definitely packs up tons of cases full of costumes, makeup, wigs, anything they would need to be a performer. But then they catch wind of a potential new ganger on the scene. They think his name was Montero. I'm not sure. So I go out and meet them. They teach me some really cool like demon devil drag, and I head back.
Much more prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And Dawn.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's really good. Dawn will spend some time with her daughter and her grandchildren, and she'll then, while she's there, her family will help her make some really cryptic videos, and then she will go back to the farm and prepare her family for her leaving for a little bit and telling them that she is going to be ascending temporarily so that she can bring back more information. And she just kind of sets it up so that it can be a little self-sustaining for a little bit, but she doesn't really bring anything or prepare other than like basically all the drugs she has on hand.
All right. Fantastic. Whoops, didn't mean to hit that. So you all do your various bits of preparing, trying to settle in and prepare for what you will assume will be a very long travel. Across those 4 months, Marceline does explain a little more that you will be able to go to and fro. That's part of why she's teaching Juniper the spell. Marceline, as you all quickly surmise, is very rules lax and doesn't really care how Juniper runs the Nightosphere. Once it is time, of course, that's still a few hundred years off, but she isn't really bothered by how the Nightosphere is run, so long as she's the one running it. Dr. Bubblegum does offer anyone who would like an explanation of what happened, particularly to magic and exactly how the world used to be before magic was broken. And it is relevant to something that Marceline brings up. This is probably about 3 or so months in. And Marceline says, okay, so the biggest thing you got to worry about in the Nightosphere isn't like a demon exactly. So shadow mages, way back when everyone used to do magic, have always been like, I don't know, alluring, contacted by this thing that sort of creeps around. More superstitious people call it that lurks below, but I hear its name used to be Charlie, which is dorkish, so that's what I call it. It's going to be drawn to the Nightosphere. Something about the shadows and like manipulation of darkness. It's something interested. And for the first time, you all see Marceline look very seriously at Juniper and say, no deal with that thing is ever worth it. Nothing. And she looks to all of you and says, all of you, if for some reason she or it tries to speak to you, tell it to fuck off. It won't kill you. I don't really know why. Certainly feels like it could kill all of us if it wanted to, but if you tell it to fuck off, it'll fuck off. So go with that. Okay. And then Peeps, did you want to take? And she goes, right. Charlie is actually partially responsible for the breaking of magic here on the material plane. Supposedly a long time ago, a group of heroes was put together to try and stop it from creating children. It made a daughter sort of a subsection of itself. It sort of split like a single-celled organism almost. And with the gods being behind the divine gate, there wasn't really enough magic. This is all very technical. The point being, in order to bind Charlie's daughter, they had to use more magic than was actually available in the world at the time to create the chains. And it sort of permanently broke the renewable energy source that was magic. And now people can only tap into it in certain ways. I mostly bring this up because since you're going to a plane that isn't the material plane, that won't hinder you any longer. So you may be able to learn some magic, or perhaps some of you have an innate magical spark that's been sort of suppressed here on the material plane. You could even make a deal with a particularly powerful demon for some type of magic. It's a thing to look out for. You're all technically very practiced hemomancers at this point. So you could follow that through line. And yeah, go ahead.
With all this talk about like the magic and all that, Maeve is remembering Sawyer's friend, the musician, and points it out that maybe we want to share this information with your fae friend.
Yes, I think that he would be very interested to know about this. Would that be all right if I brought the fae realm into this? I have a friend, his name is Xander. He's very beautiful.
Sure. It's just magical history. I'm sure a fae couldn't do anything with that.
Could he visit?
And Marceline goes, yeah, sure, fuck it, why not?
Wonderful. I will send him a textual message.
Right. But anyway, just wanted to give you all a heads up as to what kind of place you're walking into. As far as, menaces to the queen or whatever, you don't have to worry about all that, at least until I'm dead, because they know better. And Juniper says, so, Marcy, if you're a vampire queen, why do you rule over a world of demons? To which Marceline replies, because my dad was a jackass, kid. He was the worst. Glad he's dead. Not that I killed him. I would never do something so legally illegal. You guys want to go feed on somebody?
Sure.
Sick.
Yes.
And she sort of like backpedals out of an open window, strumming on her guitar. She's exhausting, but I love her, so I guess I'll just have to deal. And after about another month of preparation, the day is there, and you see that Juniper is hard at work studying the last bits of this teleportation spell that is apparently called plane shift. And she says that everyone will need to gather hands. And she looks at all of you and goes, I appreciate all the help and stuff, but I know y'all have like lives and businesses here. You don't have to come with me.
What if we want to come with you?
Hold on to your butts. And you see she presses down on the ground, beads of sweat sort of forming at the brow. lights flickering and dimming, the room sort of shaking and vibrating. And as it does, as this rift is opened up in the middle of the room, you all feel something that has always been there. Specifically, Dawn and Sawyer feel this part of something that's always been there, but just hasn't had enough to latch onto to connect with you. And you all immediately can tell the sort of swell in your spiritual forms, as it were. This is what magic is. Like, you have that sort of like connection moment of like your body's finally found the Wi-Fi and is like, oh, like this is a whole different level of experience. And as you all are sort of basking in this moment, you see Juniper stands up, a wide smile on her face, fangs bared, proud that she opened the portal, and she goes, "That's my little rock star. Hell yeah." And Marceline disappears into the portal, and Bonnabelle sort of crouches and says, "You've done really good in a really short amount of time, Juniper. Just keep kicking butt." And they do a fist bump. And you four stand behind her, remembering the brash but shy young girl with the scraggly cut hair that was completely dyed improperly. She stands there now at her full height, wide smile, much more assured of herself. And she looks back to y'all and goes, "Well, new beginnings." And she jumps into the portal. Sawyer, what do you do?
Well, I'm going to pull a card myself, look at it and smile, and follow.
And Dawn?
Dawn says a quick prayer, similar to the one that she says before feeding, but it's more about being able to receive instead of taking this time. And she steps into the portal.
And Pearl?
Pearl takes a deep breath. They shoulders back, chest out, walk, do a spin, and fall backwards into the portal.
All right. And Maeve?
Maeve calls Kevin just to call him Brad one last time. Transfers the rest of her assets to our Mariana company, and one foot at a time jumps into the portal.
All right. And as the portal sort of zips close, the camera stays in the office as Bonnabelle sort of like sits and goes, "Oh boy. Well, hopefully they fare better than Marceline's old coterie." And she begins to just write down a letter, and you hear a knock on the door that goes, "Yo, PB, I haven't seen you in forever." And the camera cuts. And we're left to an epilogue as we have reached the end of our lovely little campaign here. We will not go into excruciating detail about the way the Nightosphere functions. You can imagine the politics, however your character would see them fit. And we're going to go around and do a quick little, just a little something of what you think your character gets up to in the Nightosphere as it was. And you can use that as a springboard for your outro, and also throw in what your favorite moment of the campaign was too. Sound good? Now, who will be my first victim? We're gonna start with Amanda. So, how does Pearl fare in the Nightosphere?
Pearl being originally Gangrel on Earth, I imagine that they adapt pretty well, actually. They're not used to, despite the performances, not really sort of used to like comfortable or luxury, that came from more part of the New York underground punk scene. So they are very into the demons. And I feel like maybe they open a little like social club for the demons.
Ooh, okay.
Teaches them some parts of the performing arts, maybe.
Absolutely.
And so my name's Amanda. You can follow me on Twitter at Pandacabra, as well as here on Twitch. I use she, her pronouns. And my favorite part of the campaign was when we went to visit the artist and we all had to do sort of drawings and had to describe what the drawings were. And it was kind of interesting to see what each character decided to draw. And now that I'm looking back, I'm like, actually, that makes a lot of sense what Juniper drew. Looking back now.
Indeed. Next up, we're going to tap in with Dawn.
Okay. So, Dawn has a hell of a time. She, I want to believe, becomes instantly popular with like the grimiest of the grimiest demons. And she teaches them how to make illegal substances that are, I assume, aren't illegal here, and teaches them about substance control. But then also becomes a leader of a small group of them, and they help her find someone who can teach her magic or like really tap into that part of herself, because whenever she eventually does go back, she wants to bring these powers with her if she can. That is the goal. Don't know if she can achieve that, but that's what she wants to do. My favorite moment of this stream was honestly just a lot of little moments, figuring out who Juniper is, the pieces of her story. I love a good mystery, so thank you, Dee, for making it this big, long mystery that we get to be a part of. And hello and goodbye. My name is Christiana, or Chris, and you can find me at Carpe Christie on Twitter. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Fantastic. Next up, we have Maeve.
Okay. Maeve continues her training with Juniper on self-defense and spycraft, because making quick getaways and being like good at defending yourself will come in handy as she takes her crown. And I also start training like my own little class of like demons to be spies as well, and start training. I'm assuming that I can get some like succubi and incubi in my stead.
100%.
Very similar abilities. And so instead of just being perverts, I'm going to help them utilize those skills to continue punching Nazis. And then that's it. That's it for Maeve. Maeve just becomes advisor and watches very closely to make sure Marceline doesn't cross Juniper. And also makes sure that Juniper continues to have a voice and feels like she knows that she's more powerful than Marceline, and that if she needs to, she can take Marceline out if she had to. Like that's part of the like coaching. Okay. I'm Nikki. I'm co-creator here at TRPG. join us tomorrow for our premiere of Halcyon Pride, which I'm really excited about. We will be raising funds for Equality Texas. So come join us and throw money at Equality Texas because they could use the help. Also, it's a really fun cast and I'm excited to watch them play.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Be sure to drop back in for that. It's going to be a lovely time. Next up, we have Sawyer.
I think Sawyer would throw herself into magic wholeheartedly, and try and learn as much as she could. Try and unlock her potential. But I also think that she would really try to make sure that the home that Juniper was coming home to every day was full of love and good vibes and light and happiness, as much as you can get somewhere that's shadowy and dark. But you can't have shadows without light. So,
True.
that's going to be what Sawyer's up to. I think my favorite part of this campaign was, I loved the magic food. I think the magic food was fantastic. Very excited about that. Just little touches, little pieces of the world. And I loved how it was all connected. That made me very happy. My little conspiracy theory brain was just like, yeah, this is amazing. And gosh, what else? Oh, real life person. Hi, I'm Christina. I'm a writer. I'm a role player. I'm a GM. You can find me over on Twitter at D20xtina. And you all should go check out Uncaged Goddesses because it's beautiful and it's fantastic. And you should all go check that out. You can find it over on DM's Guild. It's beautiful. And you can find me over on Carry and Comfort this Thursday playing Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast. And I'm very excited to be doing that.
Hell yeah.
Can I just say my thing that I loved was the
Yeah.
makeover with Juniper, because up until that point, Maeve was just like an asshole. And I think that getting to show why Maeve, like, yes, she is, but here's why. And also, like, she does care about the autonomy of this small child.
Yeah.
And when Christina started explaining Sawyer's role with like the light and everything, I feel like Sawyer and Maeve are like two moms, and like Sawyer's like the really kind, lovey mom, and Maeve's like the hard ass who really cares but is a total hard ass. I love it. Danger
God
mom,
bless.
soup mom. It's so cute.
Perfect. Love it. So that brings us to Juniper's epilogue. So Juniper's epilogue is across the course of the next, I'd say, 100 years or so. She honestly doesn't change that much. She becomes a lot more mature. She becomes a lot more at peace with what she's meant to do, because she sees that the Nightosphere is kind of like a ball of chaos at the moment. Marceline doesn't really do much of anything ever at any point. And with her loyal coterie at her back, it is she's ready to one day be vampire queen of the Nightosphere and by extension the Shadowfell. Which, as I'll throw in a couple bonus things here, because as Christina mentioned earlier, it is all connected. All of my games are all connected. The Breaking of Magic is from a D&D game. There's Phyllis is actually from a game that I just finished over on the Critical Misses channel. All of these artifacts, once they enter the world, they stay there. So hey, if you're in a D&D game of mine and you go to the Shadowfell, you can go to the city of Nightosphere and meet Queen Juniper Lee, the vampire queen, and her royal coterie of 4 advisors, as y'all are all now forever itched into the continuity of Menaeus. And hi, my lovely creatures of the dark. My name is Dee. I am a voice actor, streamer, musician, professional GM all across the internet. And I wrote this whole thing. It was fun. It was sort of like me wanting to see how many Adventure Time Easter eggs I could put into the show before someone noticed. For example, the pharmacy that Juniper got her refills from was Abadir Family Pharmacy.
Oh my God.
It's Marceline's last name. There's a whole bunch all over the place. It's fun time. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. Currently, with this show ending, I actually have an empty TTRPG schedule for once in my life. So I think I'm going to take the summer off of streaming TTRPGs, but you can still catch me over on Twitch. It's Doridla for some shenanigans and absolute mess. I am the retaining, defending TTRPG Universal Champion. And if you want to figure out how you can try and win this belt off me, I suggest you buy yourself a copy of WWE 2K22. Wink. But that is us. That is this. Thank you all for catching all 4 of these episodes. Thank you to my wonderful players for putting up with my vampiric shenanigans. Hopefully y'all come out on the other side of this liking some Vampire the Masquerade. And if you've got anything that you want to come share with us about this show, join the Discord, the TTRPG community, where we've got all sorts of great things coming on. We've got Halcyon Pride starting soon on the channel and more things down the pipeline that only gets better. But until the next time we see you, be good people and try not to get lost in Miami. Bye, everybody.